Dear students, in today's class, we are going to execute one more experiment in Azure, that is experiment 12 in skilling. Explore Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. Okay, so this is one of the service that is available in Microsoft Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. The task of this experiment is the first task is you have to create a storage account. Create a storage account with the Data Lake Storage Gen 2. Then we have to upload one data set into it. Okay. So once we create a storage account with data lake storage and upload a data set, this is the first task. The second task is we need to analyze the things. Okay, so we need to explore some access control lists and also a basic data analysis by using queries. Okay, so we are going to analyze the data which we upload into the data lake storage by connecting to Azure Synapse Analytics or Databricks. Okay, so these are the two tasks that we need to perform in this experiment 12, that is skill experiment 12. Okay, first we'll create one storage account with the data lake storage. For that, please go to Azure portal, search for the storage accounts, click on create, enter some details, subscription details, resource group is already selected. So now storage account name, give any name of your choice. KL test data lake storage. Just to differentiate, I want to give a naming convention. KL test data lake storage. Okay, this is the name already taken. This was taken by the Azure. Now select the region. Region is Central India. I'm selecting here. To see here, when I click on this drop down list, you can see Azure Blob Storage or Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. Okay, so I'm selecting the first one, which is Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. Now, performance keep standard. Redundancy, as we're using a free account, I don't want any redundant data to be created in any of the thing anywhere. So I will select locally redundant storage. Okay. Now, one more thing that we should do. mm, The basic difference between the blob storage and the data lake storage is click on next, or you can go to the advanced here. Okay, either click on next or advanced. Now we'll win the option of advanced option. Scroll down, you will see an option called enable hierarchical namespace. Enable hierarchical namespace. Okay, so by default it is disabled. Now enable it and click on review and create. Nothing you need to do except that. That must be done because we are using a data lake storage for analytical purpose. We have to do that. Okay, validation is done. Click on create. Once it get deployed, once the data lake storage account is created, I'm going to upload one CSV file into it. Very simple data. Very simple data. I'm going to upload here, which contains 4 columns: the name, age, and salary of 5 employees. Okay, and these are the ages. These are the salaries of their employees. Okay, so once the deployment done, once the data lake storage is created, that is what our task is, right? So first we have to create a storage account with data lake storage gen 2, then upload a data set, example CSV file, into the data lake gen 2 account. Now deployment is completed. Go to resource. Now click on the storage browser. Click on the storage browser. Click on the blob containers. Now see here, either you can click here or you can click there also, blob containers. Okay. So click on add container. Give some name. I am giving here KL test container. Click on create. Once the container is created, container was created here. Click on the container. You can add a folder in which your files need to be stored. Okay. You can create any number of folders like what we do in our systems, local systems, right? So there is some network error. Now create one folder with a name called data. Click on save. Okay. Now click on data. You click on the folder. Now here you can upload any number of files. Okay. Now understand the path. We have created a storage account, which is a data lake storage. Inside that we have created one container. Inside the container we have created one folder data. Into the data I am going to upload this file, a CSV file. Now sample data, search for the sample data, a CSV file. Click on upload. Okay. Now if you want you can see the data also here which we have uploaded. So this is the data that I have uploaded, right? So this is what our first task in the experiment. So we have created a storage account, then we have uploaded the data set. Now we should do some analysis. We should do some analysis. So basic analysis. We have to perform a basic data analysis task by connecting data lake storage Gen 2 to Azure Synapse Analytics. Okay. So both we should do. We need to connect the data lake storage Gen 2 and also Synapse Analytics. Okay, either Synapse Analytics or Databricks, because the original data is there in the Data Lake Gen 2. So in the Azure Synapse Analytics, we are going to analyze the data which is already stored in the data lake. Okay. Now, see now, we have created a Azure Data Lake storage account here. So in that storage account, we have uploaded one CSV file. Okay. So our data is in now in this storage account, that is Azure Data Lake. So we're going to analyze this data. We're going to analyze this data. Of course, this is a small data, but in real time, we're going to analyze a very big data, like hundreds and thousands of records need to be analyzed. For that, we require separate services. So they are available in Azure. The two services that are mentioned in our experiment is Azure Synapse Analytics and Azure Databricks. Okay. So if you observe here, the analytical data processing in Azure can be accomplished, that can be analyzed with following services. Okay. One is Azure Synapse Analytics. Second one is Azure Data Lake. So the only the only difference between the blob storage and Azure Data Lake storage is blob storage is used to just hold the values, hold the files, used to hold the files, right? Whether it is a Word file or image file or Excel, CSV, whatever it is. But Azure Data Lake storage is also a storage service used to hold the values, and at the same time it is also used for analytical purpose. This is the main difference. Okay. This is used for big data analytics, used for big data analytical purpose. Okay. Whether the data is structured or unstructured. Structured is nothing but a data which is in the form of rows and columns is nothing but a structured data. But when it comes to the unstructured or semi-structured data, any data which is not in the which is not in the tabular format, they're all called unstructured or semi-structured data, like JSON. We have seen right in the previous examples. So one more service for for analysis of data is used is Azure Databricks. Okay. So one more data is Power BI. One more service is Power BI and Azure Data Factory. So these are the different services that are available in Azure for analytical processing of data. Analytical processing of data. So as far as our experiment is concerned, this is asking us to do the analysis by using these two services. One is Azure Synapse Analytics, another one is Databricks. Okay. Now, so this is what our experiment is asking us. So first we'll create an Azure Synapse Analytics, then we'll analyze some data here, then we're going to create one Azure Databricks, then we're going to analyze the data which is there in the Azure Data Lake. Okay. So for that, then go to the home page again, search for the Synapse Analytics. See here, this is the first one, Azure Synapse Analytics. Click on create. Enter the details, whatever it asks. Resource group, student. Manage resource group is an optional. You can leave it as it is. Workspace name. Yeah, please give some name. Always use naming conventions to recognize wherever you use this service. Okay. So I want to give this as KL test, Synapse, and a data lake, right? Because I'm going to connect the data lake with the Synapse, right? So now select the region as Central India. Select data lake storage Gen 2, okay, from subscription only. Account name. Already we have created, right? Already we have created some data lake storage, one data lake storage. So select that one. Select that one. File system name. Already we have created one container that was selected because there is only one container we have created automatically that was selected. If you have multiple containers, you have to click on this drop down and select the container in which your data is uploaded. Okay. So nothing we need to change here. Nothing we need to change here. The remaining things you can leave it as it is. Now click on review and create. Synapse Analytics is going to create now. Validation is succeeded. Validation succeeded. This is the amount it is going to cost us. Azure is going to cost for us. Deployment begins. It takes some time. Azure Synapse Analytics uh, for the deployment process. It takes some time. Let's wait for that. Now deployment is completed. Go to the resource group. Now here you can see the KL test Synapse data lake. This is what we have created. Now click on this Launch Studio. Okay, Launch Studio. One more tab will be open. Studio will be open. Now we need to connect. So here, if you see, Azure Synapse Analytics is created. Now we need to establish a connection between the Azure Data Lake and Azure Synapse because our original data is in Data Lake, right? So we have to establish a connection and bring the data from the data lake to the Azure Synapse Analytics, and we're going to analyze the data here by using some SQL queries. Now, in order to how to link with the data lake storage is go to the manage, left hand side, go to the manage. See here, you can see an option called linked services, right? So click on new. Click on new. Now our data is in data lake, right? Search for the data lake. Now see here, Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. Select this. Click on continue. Give any name. By default, Azure has selected this. Leave it as it is. Now authentication type. Select system assigned management identity. Okay. So select this system automatically. The authentication will be done by the system, right? So system assigned managed identity. Now select the subscription that you are using. My subscription is students subscription. Storage account name. This is the storage account which I have created. KL test data lake storage. Click on test connection. Our connection must succeeded. Okay, connection successful. Click on create. Now the connection is established now, right? So the connection between the Azure data lake and Azure Synapse was established. Now we can bring the data from the Azure data lake and we can do some analysis here. So now for that, so to run the SQL queries, you need to go to the data, click on this data, click on the symbol, SQL database, right? Click on the SQL database. Again, some connection issue. Let's wait for it. Yeah. Now from the left hand side, sorry, not develop, not data. Click on develop. Click on develop. So to run the queries, click on develop. Click on the plus symbol. You may see the first option, that is SQL script. Click here. Now here we are going to run the SQL queries. So this is a different queries because we are not executing data which is there in the table, which is there in the table. So here the query is a little different here, right? Now see here, first we are going to select the data, select the data. Uh, Data source we need to select. Data source we need to select means we need to provide the path of the file which you have uploaded in the data lake storage. Okay, so here your file link in this codes, whatever the file that you have uploaded, that link must be provided here. So how to get that is, go to the Azure portal again, click on the data lake storage, because in this only we have uploaded the data, right? Now click on the storage browser, click on the storage browser, click on the blob containers, click on the container again, click on the data folder. This is what our file, right? So click here on the three dots, you can copy URL. Okay, click here, copy URL, go to the Synapse again, just remove this and paste your copy here, right? So remove this one also. So I have just copied the URL and paste here. Now format is CSV, first row equal to 2, because the actual data will start from the second row, right? So that I should mention here. So, and the remaining things here is ID, name, age and salary. What are the columns that are available here that I have mentioned there? ID, name, age and salary. Okay. Now click on run. Now from data lake storage, the data will be retrieved into the Synapse Analytics and will produce here. See now, the data is produced here. Whatever the data that we uploaded in the data lake, that was brought from there and produced in the Synapse Analytics. Okay. So here we can do the analysis. So already we have discussed about the analytics. Analytics is nothing but which includes aggregate functions. Aggregate functions. Okay. Sample mm, sample code I am going to run here. Copy. Just paste here. So I'm going to get the salary by grouping the age. Okay, similar ages is if exists, they'll be grouped into a single unit. Their salary will be aggregated here, right? Now, again we have to provide this link here. Copy the URL, paste here. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm doing the count number of employees by grouping the age. For example, if the age is 23, so how many employees are belongs to age 23 will be grouped together and the count will be displayed here, right? And the average salary. For example, there are four people are there because this is a very similar simple data set. Simple data set. There may not be any similar rows. So their average salary will be calculated. So for example, four employees are there with the age 23. All four salaries will be average. Okay, and provides here and here the average salary will be provided. Okay, same as the before. Now click on run. Okay, so the age 23, the number of employees are only one. Their average salary is 50,000. Okay, 25. If there are more number of employees of age 23, the count will come here. At the same time, the average will be displayed here. Means their salary will be summed up and divided by the number of employees. Because there is only one employee with age 23 or 25, their actual salaries will be displaying here. Okay, so this is what the Synapse Analytics we are going to perform. Okay, so here if you see here, by connecting, so the second task of our experiment is we just perform a basic data analysis task by connecting data lake storage into to Azure Synapse Analytics. Okay, so the same thing can also do by creating data bricks also. Okay, so this is what our experiment.